guys? Welcome back to another video. It's been a while since I did a live stream, but I'm here. We're going to talk about the Moto devices here that I got. Let me pop open this chat here. What's going on, man? Hey. Let's get the chat open here. Pop out. Here we go. We're going to talk about this Moto device and some other devices that we got that are really, really good. Morning. It's morning for some of you guys. Hey, I know. What's going on, man? Thanks. I see you guys. It's been a while since I did a live stream. Been kind of doing other things. What's going on? Hey, everybody. I see you popping in. Looks like the link worked. Looks like the link worked. Decided to do a quick live stream and talk about some good phones on a Saturday. Hey, everybody, pop. Hey, Chris. There's Chris Curry, guys. You're probably thinking, who's Chris Curry? Chris Curry's been around for a while. Yeah, definitely want to talk about some of these phones that are out here that are pocket friendly for the consumers, because that's not something that we see in conversation much anymore. We're pretty much just getting on to the really expensive phones. And that's where we're staying at. So, hey, Darren, everybody, Tracy, see you guys, Cliff, TJ, Alex, all you guys that come in, Alvarado, William, appreciate it. You guys do me a favor and put this link. Hey, I see you come in. Can you guys put this on Twitter for me? I'm trying to get this tweeted out here. I want to get this going here. I appreciate you guys' support. I want to talk about pocket-friendly devices, you know. It's been a while since I did a live stream. I like doing live streams, but just don't have the capacity to do very much of them anymore. But making time on a Saturday morning for you guys. It's actually Saturday early afternoon for me. Joseph, hey, there's Joseph Erickson. He's always on every video. A bit of an echo and sound effect happening. Anybody else hear this? I don't use earphones when I do this. So if you are hearing an echo, you might want to double check something. What's going on, Mark? I see Mark. Hey, there's T. Frank, guys. Oh my gosh, she made a guest appearance in a live stream. Oh man, can someone pop this on Twitter for me? That'd be great. I appreciate it. There's Paul Tech. Put that on Twitter for me. Appreciate it, Paul Tech. Everybody say to Paul Tech. Hi to Paul Tech. He's silently in the stream. There's Art Dog. Yeah, definitely hear an echo. Let me check something here. Oh, I can see the little echo you guys hear. It could be just this new microphone that I'm using. I don't know. I could switch. I'll switch. Let me switch microphones real quick. Let me see if I can get into here and turn off this. Go to default. And let's go to default. Because I was using the Yeti for a while. And so you guys let me know how that is sounding. Yeah, that should have cured it up for you. I turned off I use a triple setup, as you can see there. So sometimes it might be what it is, but with the Yeti, it handled it a little bit different. What phone are you using for the broadcast? I'm not using a phone. I'm actually using my Logitech C922 Pro. So this is actually considered one of the best cameras by a lot of people. It's got almost a 5-star rating, like a 4.8 or 4.9. So the Logitech is what I decided I'm going to start using for most of these streams like this, so I can give you the comments and things like that. So thank you guys for checking the mic gain for me there. So, but yeah, I'm using the Logitech C922 Pro, which is again considered like top dog for people who use vlogs and streaming and things like that. So, but I appreciate you guys coming in because I was reading an article this morning, and I was also writing an article on smartphoneconversations.com. Be sure to follow me on smartphoneconversations.com. I don't push my website very often. I just publish the content whenever I want to, because when you own a website, you can write and publish articles when you want to, and that's the freedom of not working for somebody. I can pretty much do what I want to do. If I don't want to post an article, I won't post an article. But I try to only report the news through YouTube, and I want to use the website to give you specific details on things. And I was writing an article on the Moto E4, just like my first 24-hour type of review. I didn't label it that, but it's definitely this is a phone that people should buy. I mean, it's really that good. It's a solid phone, man. I mean, the fact that you can grab it from Walmart for $39 if you're a Verizon customer. If you want the unlocked version, after using this for almost 48 hours, I definitely would recommend that you get it. Now, my first impressions video, I said, you know, hey, I don't know if I'd spend $100 on it or 120, but I think I actually would for this. The issue I have with that is that it's so many. It starts to get really close to other phones like this right here. Like this phone costs $160, and sometimes you can get this for an even lower cost. I mean, this is the Xiaomi Redmi Note 4X, and this phone has a bigger screen, 1080p display, really nice cameras, metal build, you know, rear mounted fingerprint reader. Phones like this, that's when you teeter into, you know, should I get it or not? But I mean, if you're in the U.S., I can recommend this phone because it's really that good, you know. So, yeah, man, how's your young? Oh, this phone right here is actually before I go on to this phone, everybody say what's up to LaShawn, man. He made it in. LaShawn, man, my bad. I don't normally send out links to live streams. I just like to post it because I don't really like to beg people to come to my live streams, or, you know, I don't push it that hard. You know, I actually try to catch people off guard to see if I can catch people during the middle of their day and see if they'll come on. But everybody say what's up to LaShawn, man. He's always helping me out in the live streams. But the Redmi Note 4X, it definitely is a phone that I still can recommend in 2017. These pocket-friendly devices, you know, when I say pocket-friendly, I mean price-wise, you know, these are phones that I could definitely recommend to people, you know, and I just feel like, why wouldn't you buy them? And the reason I said that, our dog said you call me up. I haven't live streamed in weeks, you know, and I really don't plan it anymore. I want you guys to follow me on Spreaker. It's always Mr. J.L. Williams. My podcast is every Tuesday evening. I moved it from the morning time to the evening time because that's what people ask for. And then Monday Smartphone News. Those two you will definitely get from me unless I'm on vacation or something. Monday Smartphone News and Tuesday's podcast is live. So really join me live on Tuesdays for the podcast because I really enjoy doing those. But I was reading an article on, I was looking through my email, and I get so many emails per day. You have no clue. And I saw an article about the Xiaomi Mi 6. I mean, and I tweeted out that if Xiaomi were to come to the U.S., Samsung, Apple, all these other companies, they will be finished because Xiaomi has the Xiaomi ceramic version, $499, 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs on board, and it's a ceramic device. That phone, technically on paper, is better than pretty much, it's actually, to me, it's actually an even better option than possibly the OnePlus 5. The OnePlus 5 is a phone that I think is hot. I use a daily driver. My two daily drivers at the moment are these two right here. For those people that tweet out to me, what's your daily drivers? It's the OnePlus 5 and SIM card number 2, and HTC U11 is always in SIM card number 1 unless I'm doing some kind of review of a phone. Like this is my daily driver, but I need to review. I've got phones that I'm reviewing, so sometimes I'll have to move my main SIM card into that phone to review it. But pretty much my daily driver number 1 and number 2 goes side by side with real phone numbers in them in daily use. But I looked at an article about Xiaomi, and I wonder why Xiaomi doesn't make their presence known in the U.S. Because Darren, real quick, Darren, I sold my SA Plus a while back, but you know, I feel like Xiaomi should really make their presence known in the U.S. because even this phone right here, the Redmi Note 4X, this phone right here is a phone that actually beats out some flagship phones. I mean, it's got a 4,100 milliamp hour battery in here. And when I tell you it's a fantastic device, build quality, everything is good. I really wish that you know, Motorola would not make so many editions of this phone and give us that one good version of the E line, or like two or three, like a one and a two. Like this could be the smaller version and then give us that bigger version, but bring them all. And I know you're probably saying, Jay, there's the E4 Plus. Yeah, but the launch and the way they launch them is not to my liking. It's kind of staggered. Like there's different versions of this phone. The Metro version is the worst of them all. It doesn't have a fingerprint reader, and not taking shots at a MediaTek processor, but it has a MediaTek processor, and this same phone has a fingerprint reader. It's got the gestures. It's got the Snapdragon inside. I don't understand that part of it, but what I will say is they're doing a great job. Motorola is handling their business, but companies like Xiaomi, if they were to come to the U.S., and I know everybody's not going to agree. It's not going to agree. Shout out to Eric. Hey, Eric, what's going on? I know everybody's not going to agree. However, Xiaomi needs to come to the U.S. so they can compete with Motorola. Because right now, LG, and I hope and pray that I can get the LG Q6 for you guys. I know you guys are going to say, oh, Jay, you know, the Q6 is a watered down this and that. But I've been reviewing phones for a long time, and I've learned to set my standards accordingly. And so if I have a phone that's on the weaker side as far as specs go, I review it the way the person who bought it will review it. And also I'll review it the way I will review it. And I think that if Xiaomi were to come to the US, they could actually decimate most of these carriers with these crazy prices. So last night I was watching Team 100. Shout out to Team 100. Remember, guys, when there's a live stream, I'm always watching. Even though I don't say anything, I watched that entire stream for about 3 hours. And I had free time, so I sat down and watched it. And good panel. You guys did great. You know, I really enjoyed that stream. They covered a lot of topics. And I think somebody, there was a question about, you know, what phone, I think it was, what phone do you think could do good in the US or something of that nature. And I was, as a viewer, I was saying, you know, man, I would love to call in. I wish Team 100, once they get established, start taking phone calls, get your panel in order, start taking phone calls, because there are people watching. And that was a discussion with the panel. And I would have loved to answer or ask some questions or got in chimed in on that. But nonetheless, I was thinking Xiaomi when they asked that question, because Xiaomi is a company that has solid hardware. And a lot of people in the U.S., they don't really rock with Xiaomi because they don't want to import phones and things like that. So, you know, it's harder to get someone in the U.S. to actually say, oh, yeah, I'll buy a Xiaomi phone. Because a lot of times they don't work in the U.S. Now, there are phones out there that do work in the U.S. And I mean, while you might get spotty coverage here and there, I actually get 4G with this phone. Everybody keeps telling me, you're not going to get 4G with that. But I get 4G with it on AT&T. Magic Tech Reviews is in here, guys. Everybody say hello to him. He's just gave a donation. I appreciate it. I feel like companies that probably should be in the U.S. are not here because there's always going to be that backdoor, those big executives that are sitting in the back room and saying, we may feel like Apple and Samsung, all these guys are competing, but we've heard it before. You know, that's just not how it works. They all agree to do certain things together. They meet in the back room, make the choices, and then have the public thinking that, you know, they're going against each other, so we can pick a side. When in all actuality, we should be working together to get the most and the best of what we need, you know, for as a consumer. But they're shout out to Keith. I see Keith in here. They're silently controlling us, you know. And so you gotta ask yourself at one point or another, why is it that the flagship phones, and it's not to take a shot at any flagship, but why is it these phones have small batteries, like, and not small in a sense of, it's just why isn't the capacity bigger? Why isn't the capacity 4,000 at least on both of these phones? Why is that? And the short answer to that is we're silently being controlled, you know? Shout out to Michael Thompson. I appreciate you. Appreciate the support. Um, we're silently being controlled by these companies. So I'm never going to get on video and tell a person not to buy a phone that's under $200, because there are plenty of phones out there that are under $200 that are really, really good. And it's also not to take a shot at people who say only buy the flagship devices, because I have a mixed bag over here. I've held up phones that cost $40, $100, $200, $300 so I try to cover all grounds for you guys. But let me see. Lieco tried to come to the U.S. and failed. I'm not sure if they can compete with Samsung or Apple. That's Eric. And Lieco failed, and I think we can agree on this, Eric. Lieco failed because of their software, right? The Lieco Pro 3 hardware is better than most of the phones that we have today. Unfortunately, they didn't listen to the consumers. Now, they tried to come back and give us an app tray later on, but by then, the damage was done, and people decided, I don't want this phone, I'm selling it, I'm returning it, the software sucks, like the way they had it set up. So for those that own the Lieco Pro 3, the Lieco Pro 3 was a great piece of hardware. I mean, it was fantastic. It had a 4,100 milliamp hour battery or 4,000 milliamp hour battery, rear mounted fingerprint reader. The design of it was beautiful. It had great hardware. It was just really good. It had dual speakers, really good cameras. The problem was the software. Huawei can probably succeed. Huawei is actually succeeding, but just not as well in the US. Just like ZTE, people think the ZTE is failing, but they're only not doing good in the US in the high-end game. But ZTE and Huawei are killing it overseas. And ZTE is doing really good in the lower-end market, and Huawei is doing really good in the lower-end market. Lieco, that's a great example. They just failed in the U.S. He's right, they failed in the U.S., and I think they failed because of software. And that was about it. So I want to answer a question in the live stream here from Jiggle223. What do I think about Lenovo moving to stock UI? And I'll get to Keith's question as well, and also Big House about the fire sale for Lieco. What do I feel about? I love stock Android, and I'm going to always like stock Android. And I feel like Lenovo, now they don't really have to. And also I want to say this: they did talk about this again. Shout out to Team 100. They didn't ask me to do that, and they don't even know I'm talking about them. But I was actually watching that stream last night, like I said before, and they also talked about them Lenovo moving to stock Android. And I think what's the name said it, Rukamba. He said, they don't really have to change much because it's pretty much all stock, and he's absolutely right. There isn't much to change because this phone is pretty much stock. It's pretty much a stock device. But I don't want them to take away the gestures, Moto gestures. I pick up my phone, I can see notifications without doing anything. That is what I don't want to lose, Moto/Lenovo. Don't take away what's already good and what's already working. Don't do it. That's how you lose people. But I think it's a good move because stock Android now, and again, I'll reference Team 100 because they made a lot of good points last night, and they talked about a lot of things that I'm just having to stumble across now. But Eric Kelly, tech gentleman, he also said that, because of people like companies like Samsung, the stock Android capitalizes on that by adding features, and he too is actually right. So the fact that they're moving to stock Android, let's hope that they continue to do all of that and bring them all when Lenovo does move to that. So good question there. I want to go to Big House. Fire sale for Lieco. They're pretty much kind of doing that now, because the Lieco Pro 3 is only $239 at its low cost for the US version. And that's kind of rare. And that's a good pickup. But unless I can lock the bootloader and capitalize on that, or unless they just give us a stock version, hey, there's nothing I can say about it. Fire sale, yeah. Huawei is joining AT&T, says Keith Williams. He's absolutely right. There is some talks about the Huawei P10 or the Huawei Mate 10, I'm sorry, joining up with AT&T. So, I think that's a good thing, but I don't like exclusive deals. And so, that's kind of how I feel about that. How about Asus? Good question, Michael Thompson. You know, Asus again, they need to. It's crazy, but I don't disagree with Team 100 from last night. I think Eric talked about the scan on the Asus phones, and he's absolutely right. You know, it's not the best scan, and also Night Tech talked about how there's so much bloatware on there, even though you can uninstall it. Those guys made a good stream last night, good points, and I totally agree. The Asus could be good, but they would need to do something with that skin, and they would also need to move probably just to stock. Um, uh, Carlo says, give him a shout out. Shout out to Carlo. Mate 9 is Big House. You're absolutely right. The Mate 9 is a fantastic device. So I want to talk about the Pixel 2 real quick. The Pixel, shout out to the Pixel squad. The Pixel 2 is coming, and you know, I actually posted one of their official renders for the Pixel. Now, I don't know if that's going to be final or not, but that is a device, and it does look like that, and all they did was stretch it out and keep the same design. So, to be honest and to be frank, you know, Google failed to me with the Pixel, the first set of Pixels, but they didn't fail in the eyes of the community. You know, they failed in the tech community because they refused to buy more stock from HTC, because why? They controlled us with that first tester device, and that's pretty much all they did. They wanted to see how we would bite, you know, for that type of device, and we bit hard. We loved it, you know. But unfortunately, they decided we're going to pull the plug silently. We're only going to order about 500,000 of these, and we're going to get them on the next device. Now, they failed with the price for sure, but let's hope that the Pixel 2 and the Pixel 2 XL, if those are going to be the names, let's hope that they do right by us on the price. Because there's a phone that's coming out that I'm actually excited about. I don't really care. When I say I don't care about others' opinions, I care about your opinion. I respect it, but it doesn't waver my thoughts on it. The Essential phone. Regardless of what people might think, yeah, they're not marketing that phone right. They did horrible with the way they started it off. I made a video about it. Several other YouTubers made a video about it. The Essential phone is going to be a phone that can also decimate a lot of other phones. But the problem with that is, you want us to buy a phone that we've never had any hands on with. There's no leaks on it. There's nothing. You just because you have a big name, and I'm not taking shots at Andy Ruman, but just because you have a big name and you have the backing and the capital to do it, doesn't mean you're going to get a phone that's going to sell. Now, me, I actually like the phone. I'm excited about it, so I probably will get it, mainly because of the 4K recording on the front. Now, I was doing a lot of 4K recording, so now I'm giving you a mixed bag on my channel, 1080p and 4K, because my 1080p footage for the phones that I'm using are actually really solid. Only until I decided not if I wanted to buy this Sony mirrorless camera, which costs about $1,900 bucks. Still in the, you know, I'm kind of on the fence about that. But let me go back up to another quote. I saw something up here about Sony. Where it is. Do you think all the leaks of the Note 8 and iPhone 8 ruin the excitement? And that's from DXM as family. Yes, they ruin the excitement for me sometimes, because leaks are something that I don't really want to see, even though I report them. I don't really want to be involved with the leaks. You know, I don't know. So this is from DA-Kite Elijah. Why doesn't ZTE try to capitalize on their success with the Z Max Pro and Axon 7? Okay, so here's the thing about that. ZTE is a profitable company. Regardless of what we may think, they're running a lot of the industry in the background. You know, and actually are capitalizing in the prepaid market. Think about all these phones that are out, pretty much on the prepaid side, $9, $28 phones. Those are all ZTE, and people are buying them, you know? So, Alcatel doesn't have a chance with me, I guess I want to say. They're unstable when it comes to releasing a device. You know, like I'm working on a partial review for the Alcatel Pulse Mix. Great concept. They tried to take a shot at Motorola. It's kind of working, but it's not working to their advantage. And then that too is another tester device. They wanted to see how we would bite to that and how well they could sell those expensive mods. And people aren't going to pay $50 for a mod. Let me see. Why haven't Sony phones taken off? Sony phones have taken off, just not in the US. That's another thing. Sony phones do very well, just not in the US, because Sony is, they're they're not focused on us, And I guess based on my experience with people I deal with in the smartphone industry in the US, I wouldn't want to deal with us either because we do a lot of returns. We buy phones, return them. What do you think that the US would be like if there was no return policy like it is overseas? You can't just buy a phone and return it. Oh, it's yours. That's a wrap. What do you think the US would be like if they moved to that? We'd have less sales, probably. We'd have less sales. And that's just what it is. So I want to get to another question up here. U11 is the king supreme. Okay, so Keith, I don't disagree. I think the U11 is the phone to beat. Now, everybody, I got hands-on with the U11 first. And I also got hands-on with the Ultra. Like, I drove to that event. But the U11, I didn't go to any kind of event. But the U11, to me, is the camera to beat and the device to beat. And, yeah, no, I don't work for HTC. And I feel like, just based on experience, for those that have the U11 and for those that have the U Ultra, you guys can let the others know who don't have them. This is a great phone, The OnePlus 5 is a good phone, but the U11 is a drop test. The U11, to me, in my personal opinion, is the phone to beat of all smartphones right now. So this is what the Note 8 is competing against in my eyes. This is what the S8 and S8 Plus were competing against, which they did not beat in my eyes. I think this is a better phone than both of those phones. The iPhone 7 Plus, this is what these phones are competing against. And if I had to put a phone up against this phone, it would be the Xiaomi Mi 6, which is only $499, folks. I get 128 gigs and 6 gigs of RAM and a ceramic build. That's just unheard of. But it's not in the US, and I'd have to bring it over. So yeah, the U11 is top dog for me too. It's teetering on being pocket friendly, but when you think of a smartphone, it is pocket like a high-end smartphone. It is pocket friendly. Let me see here. There was a question that I saw. Sony Xperia X8 Ultra. I still have it in there. I use it. I fire it up at least 10 times a month, and I actually put my SIM card in and use it. Sony Xperia XZ Premium, I do plan on getting that. I plan on getting the international version because it will work in the US, and then I'll have my fingerprint reader that I want. Let me see here. I've got another Motorola question. What do you think about the leaked Moto X4 pics? They're cool. I already know what I'm getting with Motorola / Lenovo, so I'm fine with that. Shout out to Ray Stone. I appreciate the support. iPhone 8 is looking a lot like the Essential phone. Not to me, because I'll say it again. I have some iPhone 8 cases coming, and they're also giving me an iPhone 8 dummy phone. Now, normally I wouldn't release any of that information, but you're going to see it on the channel anyway. So I do have an actual physical iPhone 8, and I will when I do the unboxing for those cases, I'm actually going to go ahead and show that dummy phone that looks like a real phone. I'm going to show it in the video, so I'll reserve more into that. Let me see here. There's some other questions. Do the U11 headphones work with other USB Type-C phones? I haven't tried them, but I'm pretty. It depends. It's not so much the headphones. It's if the other phone can accept it. And there's not a lot of phones that are USB Type-C where it actually accepts USB Type-C headphones. But it'll work with the Echo phone for sure. Do you think the U11 will be compared to the... I'm going to do that. So, yeah, it will be. It will be. I don't have any shutter lag on my Gomez. Hey, shout out to Gomez 247. I don't have any shutter lag on my U11, and I think when people are experiencing that, I think that's a matter of preference. And people want see, what you do is you have a phone whose shutter is so fast. Like, I just took a picture and it took it like immediately. You have phones that have really fast shutters, and that is what we compare some of our phones to. But I don't have any shutter lag, and I don't know if that's something that HTC is trying to fix. I have no clue. Yeah, Gal, Zaffron. I have both of those as my daily drives. I think those are two phones that are just fantastic. Give you $200 dummy phone, iPhone. Give you 200 for the dummy phone. You think the ZTE Max Pro is going to be a beast? If you're talking about the ZTE Z Max Pro 2, if there is in fact one, I don't know. I think ZTE did a whole bunch. Um, I think ZTE did a whole bunch with their Z Max line, and um, I think if in fact they do bring out a ZTE Z Max Pro, they're going to have to beat the current Z Max Pro, and I don't think that will be hard. You know, one thing I think that some people might need in the tech community might need to accept is that every phone that's a replacement for the other phone model isn't always going to look like an upgrade on paper. Meaning, if they were to bring out a Z Max Pro 2 and it didn't have anything higher than a 617, you might feel like that's a downgrade. But in all actuality, people who have used the Snapdragon 435, basically the Snapdragon 400 series, they know that the 435 runs better than the 617. Anybody in this stream, if you have a phone with the 435 in it, I guarantee you can vouch for me by saying also that the 435 runs better than the 617. And I know some people in here have phones that have a 435, and you were blown away at how much better it ran than the 617. So think of the 617, and all right, I see you, man. I'll take care of that person. I try to give people a chance, and I don't have time to be going over here, remove this person. I think I got him. Yeah. Carlo. There we go. Appreciate it, guys. Yeah. Some people, I just blocked them. Don't worry about it, man. But I think that the 617 compared to the yeah, no problem. The 617 compared to the Snapdragon 435, those that have the 435, you should be able to see a noticeable difference in speed and performance over the 617. Reason being, the 617, it had issues with longevity. The 435 processor is actually a new processor as far as putting it in phones. And I think it runs better than the 617. Let me see here. Eric was like, "What are mods at?" What do you think about Red's hydrogen phone latest mock-up? So I too, like everybody else, have been following the Red phone. First, let me say, it's not that I can't afford it. I think it's a stupid purchase. And I'm not saying that towards anybody who's actually going to purchase the phone. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's a dumb purchase. Because, I wouldn't spend $1,500 on the Red phone, and then my mods are going to cost $500 to $1,000. And we're talking about Red. Their phones cost upwards of $100,000. So why are they trying to make a smartphone? And if you're a person who runs a YouTube channel, why in the world do you need a phone that costs $1,600 or $1,200 with a really good camera and probably mediocre software? Let's consider this now. It's probably just going to have stock Android with their skin on it or their overlay and things that they've added to it. But really, you're just paying for the camera when you hear the name Red. For those that are in the know, Red is a very expensive brand. And why they want to get into the smartphone game, I have no clue. They're going to need to lower that price and get back to reality because no one wants to. And first of all, no one's going to. This isn't for the mass. They're gearing this phone towards people who already buy Red products. Now, my thoughts on it: I love the design of the prototype that they have out, and I feel like it's probably going to feel good in hand. It's going to be a little bulky, and I just think it's going to be a really nice phone, but no one's going to buy that phone. No one's going to buy that phone. Hey, Forbes checks in the house to see. No one's going to buy that phone, man. The masses aren't going to buy it. You're only going to see that on MKBHD's channel and Dom. You might see it on Dom's channel. You might see it on SuperSav. But some of these people are going to get review units. MKBHD might be the only one. And even though he probably can buy it, they'll probably give him one. Because look at all the money he spent on Red already. So come on. I mean, no one's gonna buy that phone, man. You know, if you see it out there, you're gonna watch it on those channels out there who got a review unit. You will not see that bad boy on my channel. While I like it, I'm not giving them $1,600 and then have to spend another 500 to 1,000 for a snap-on camera mod that's gonna make the phone this thick. And who's gonna carry that? I'm already indifferent about mods at this point after dealing with Motorola and LG. Mods are nice, and now Alcatel. Mods are nice. But nobody really wants to carry mods around to make their phone better. You need to be able to put it in the phone. Put it in the phone. That's how I feel about it. Let me see here. I saw another question. V30. V30. I'm excited about the V30. And going back to someone's question about leaks. Leaks, we need them, but I don't want all the leaks, you know? I don't want all the leaks. I'm excited about the V30. I hope it's going to be a success. Like, when I say that, I don't mean I hope the company makes money. I hope that it's well accepted by the people who buy it. You know, the people who spend their money on it. I hope that they enjoy it. I hope that there's features in there that make people, you know, get excited like the G6. I mean, the G6, fantastic phone. Fantastic device. I mean, there's nothing, I think the G6 is even a better buy than the S8. You know, not just because of price. I'm talking about performance, and while their skin isn't my favorite, and while their screens aren't that bright and vivid, overall, though, that's a good package. But the problem I have with that statement that I just made is that now you can buy, now the S8 sales and the S8 Plus sales, they're not like what Samsung is trying to put across, because look at how much their top flagship costs right now. The S8, $570, and this is directly from Samsung. Go to Samsung's eBay. They're selling the S8 for $570 and the S8 Plus for $630, unlocked. So their sales are not like what people are talking about. So it's funny that a lot of people crack jokes about LG dropping the phone to $500 immediately. I bet you LG has sold just as many, if not more, of the G6s. But they don't go around bragging about their sales figures to the public. Because honestly, why do we care how many G6s they sell? The S8, on sale right now. So if I had to tell a person to grab the S8 or the G6 at $500 and $575, or whatever it costs, I'd tell them to get the G6, and not because of price. Moto E4 Plus, 5,000 milliamp hour battery. You're right, it is coming. I think that's going to be good. I think that's just going to be another good find, because the E4 is actually really solid. So, you know, I don't see why a person would not like the E4 Plus. The G7, if the G7 does come out, it's going to come with at least a Snapdragon 835, if in fact when it does come out. But I feel like, you know, until we find a way, you know, to not buy into, and we're outnumbered, and I say we techies, we're outnumbered, because there are way more people that are buying phones that cost $29, $30, $40. It may not seem like it, but if you're a real tech enthusiast, you know that there are millions more people that do buy the $30 phone and leave it at that. They don't buy the $800 phone. They don't even finance phones on their account. If you do your research, you'll know that we're extremely outnumbered. It's like the amount of people who believe in God. We're extremely outnumbered. You know, and that's how it is in the tech community. In the mobile industry, there are millions more people who do not buy high-end smartphones. Check it out for yourself. LG. I see you're using Cricket as your main service, and I use Straight Talk. I wonder if connectivity between two. Cricket has been fantastic. I've only lost service on Cricket, and I was at my doctor's appointment, and I was in the hospital. That's the only time I've lost service. Let me see here. Apple inching closer to $1 trillion company. I don't care about Apple. They're not giving me any money. Like, as far as these companies, the money that they're making, I don't really care about that. You know, I want the best deal as a consumer. I'm not saying your question is not important. I'm just saying as a consumer, like as a person who's actually spending my own money on this stuff, I don't want to give them a lot of money. You know, this 5K Mac is $2,000 or $2,200 or something like that. You know, I wanted to give it that, but I'll get return on this because this is what I use for YouTube. So this is paid for itself. You know, but their phones, I'm not totally sold that their phones are worth what they're asking for. Now, their tablet game, Apple is still in control of the tablet game. Whether people want to accept it or not, Samsung's tablets and all that, they're not as good as iPads. iPads are way better. They run better. They can perform better in every sense of the tablet game. That's just what it is. Let me see. P10, Snapdragon 8, Snapdragon 430. Huawei, the Helio P10 is a solid processor. And I have one in my what's the name, and it runs good. I don't have any problems with it, but I can't tell you which one I would pick over the other because it depends on what it's matched with. Yeah. Looking for another question in here. Cricket service got much better when it went to AT&T. Dookie's in the house, y'all. DVZN Media. If you don't know who he is, click on his channel. You'll see he does he does good videos for like accessories and stuff. Lots of production going on in those videos, like real talk. But yeah, Cricket service has been fantastic. T-Mobile's up in their game, but you know, if I have poor service in this office right here, I can't roll with you because this is where I spend a lot of my time when I'm doing YouTube stuff. Let me get the case for the S8, the tempered glass. I got a case for the tempered glass for the S8. I got a bunch of stuff for the S8. Maybe I'll give away some more S8 stuff. Holiday Evolution, what's going on, man? I see you in the house. What do I think about Microsoft and their smartphones really didn't take off? Microsoft messed up. And I'll get to Jay Mill's question about the Sharp bezel-less phone because they're going to shut it down if they do it right. But as far as Microsoft goes, Microsoft is doing things in the reverse order. You know, they're going to give us a Microsoft phone in 5 years, probably. Who knows? They're going to try to make this big comeback. I don't know, but they should have capitalized on the smartphone thing when they had the chance. Now, when Windows Phone was really, really good and people were buying it, and there's people right now that still use Windows Phone because I see them. When Windows Phone was on its top, they should have ran with it then. They should have gave everybody that Surface phone that they kept asking for, and they would be able to compete. But Windows Phone is just not competing right now. Now, the Sharp phone that's going to be coming out, I'm excited about it. Not because it's bezel-less, because we have a bunch of bezel-less phones, but I actually like the Sharp Aquos Crystal. That was their tester phone. You know, they have those testers that they bring on the market, and that phone actually did really well amongst the consumers and the masses. It did really good, even though it was limited to one carrier. It did really good. But I'm excited about that. Let me see here. In the near future, T-Mobile's buying Sprint. The duopoly like that, I don't think the industry is going to allow it to happen because we're already limited on carriers. There are a bunch of other carriers that people don't know about because we focus on the main four. First on those main four, and people just forget about the other carriers. There's some of them are like a lot better, but a lot of those other carriers are tucked under like Metro, T-Mobile, Cricket, AT&T, Boost, Sprint. You know, they're tucked in, so they're still making a ton of money from just the one. It goes back to that original source. However, I feel like, you know, if they do that, that's going to be a mistake. It's going to be a huge mistake. Not because I think Sprint is a bad company. I just think it takes away. Let them die out. You know, just let Sprint customers choose on their own. Let them leave let it go like that. Let the company dwindle away and get on their last leg. And then, hey, you know, they don't need to be bought by anybody, I think. These non-flagship phones are cheaper for the most part and can hang with the flagships. Holiday Evolution, you're absolutely right. Because these two phones right here, these are two phones that are considered budget-friendly phones. And they both cost under $200. And they both perform just as well, if not better, than so-called flagships. That's just what it is. There's a question, never supported their apps. Jay, I think Apple plans to play safe with the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus with minimal upgrades, just enough to catch the S8. And I agree. That's from Mizum Mike 000. I agree. I think they're going to change the hardware, and then they're going to pretty much steal iOS. So, but the problem is, the last leak that came out, and I was going to say this for Monday Smartphone News, but the last leak that came out is wireless charging on the iPhone. And then they're also going to stretch it out thin and give you a really big screen, just like the S8. So you're right. They're basically trying to compete with the S8. I have both Cricket and Metro. Cricket has better signal, but Metro is faster network. You're right on. You're absolutely right, Jose. That you're right on spot. Spot on. Cricket has really, really, really good signal and good service, but Metro's internet, because it's T-Mobile, is faster. Ever thought about using a liquid screen protector on the back of the H? Yeah, I thought about that, but I just keep it in a case anyway. So for the most, well, I don't keep it in a case all the time, but this is a new case and I've been kind of testing it out. So I got it in there, but yeah, I thought about it and I can still do it. I have one of those liquid screen protectors, but I don't believe that the liquid screen protectors are even working. I think that's a scam. I hope these companies die off unlock. Unlocking a phone, excuse me, and again, I go back to us, the U.S. compared to overseas. They have very few locked phones overseas. Also, overseas, they're paying probably pennies on the dollar for internet speeds that are worlds faster than our speeds, and we're paying high prices for slow speeds. And this comes down to a matter of us controlling the market. We don't give ourselves a say-so. We let the people with the money in the back room choose for us, and then they leave us no room to choose, and they know that we need a phone to contact our daughter in college, our grandmother that's living alone. They know that we need these things, so they jack the prices way up. They jack them up. And unlocking phones is the dumbest thing ever. Like, T-Mobile has the worst unlock process ever. You got to use a stupid application, which is dumb. Even after you pay for the phone at full cost, which that's the way I buy the phones for T-Mobile, when I did that, you still have to wait 40 days to get it unlocked, which is dumb. And I always call them and say, I'm not waiting 40 days. And what do? They unlock it right away. So that lets me know that there's a way that it could be done. They're just choosing not to. That's all that it is. They're choosing not to. It's a horrible deal. Let me see here. Jay, what two phones were you holding up? This is, if you're talking about these two, this is the Xiaomi Redmi Note 4X, and this is the Moto E4. What do you think about Meizu's double panel? I saw that phone recently, and it's a cool idea. They basically have an LCD camera on LCD screen on the back of the phone. It's a cool idea, but it looks really bad. And you also leave the phone open to more things to break. I don't know. It's a cool idea. That's pretty much it. What's the best carrier for unlimited data? That's going to be T-Mobile. Jay Robinson, I think the best carrier for unlimited data is T-Mobile because, for one, all these carriers are capping you, but T-Mobile is giving you 32 gigs at high speed. Is there any way to unlock the E4 for Verizon? You can unlock the E4 according to what's on the back of this box. They will unlock it after $75 is paid towards the account, or you keep the phone for a year. So obviously the smart thing is they know this, that $75 paid on the account, that's for people like us, who they know are wanting to jump around. But most people are just going to keep this phone. They're not buying. The average consumer is buying this phone at this low cost. They're not switching phones like us. But that's there for me and you. People who they know unlock phones, and they know we jump around. They're going to make us give them some money, basically, and then they'll unlock it for free. So after $75 on a prepaid account for Verizon, you can unlock it. So Sprint. Okay, so I want to go back to this unlocking thing. Keith says that Sprint has the worst unlocking policy. And I don't deal with Sprint anymore, but I trust you. I believe you. I believe you. Would you recommend last year's Moto Z Play with the bigger battery over this year's? Also, any news on the Axon 7 sequel? That's from Philip Vaughn. Shout out to Philip Vaughn for the question. I appreciate it. Yeah. It's kind of if you're looking for a bigger battery, the Moto Z Play from last year, obviously you could go with that one, but I've heard that the current version has really good battery too. But I actually like the design of both, so that's a tough one. As far as the Axon 7 sequel, the Axon 8 is what you're talking about. If in fact there is one, it will be better than the Axon 7. And that's all I have to say about that. Can you share thoughts on TCL and BlackBerry making a comeback later in this part of 2 cents? Okay, so that's from Michael Thompson. Shout out to Michael. TCL, we all know, if you don't know, they took over the hardware for BlackBerry. And, you know, while the Key One is a beautiful device, I'm not going to sit on this stream and tell you that I've never been interested in it, because I've said it multiple times. I plan on getting it. I haven't written it off. I don't have to get a phone when it's brand new. I'm patient enough to wait until the price goes down. I've done it multiple times. But unless it's something that I just really want for personal use, I'm going to go ahead and get it at launch. But I feel like the BlackBerry Key One is way overpriced, because it has the same internals with a smaller battery as this phone. And this phone looks really cool, and it has a big screen on it. But, you know, I just feel like BlackBerry is not, and also, I don't know if you guys seen it, but there's a gold and black Key One, and then there's now a solid black Key One. They're both limited. The gold one costs $900, and the black limited edition black one is not available in the US either, but it costs the same. I think it does. But, you know, TCL is, they've done right by BlackBerry with that hardware. I'm really enjoying it, but I don't think it's worth $550. Nope. And as far as they're making a comeback, I don't even know if that's even possible, because people hear the name BlackBerry and they're turned off. Let me see here. Can you share thoughts? Okay, I'll put it down. Okay, so will the Z Max Pro 2 have 3 gigs of RAM? There is no Z Max Pro 2, so don't know. I can't really justify paying over $900 for a phone, but there are good phones coming out, like the Note 8. I'm a Samsung fan. I'm thinking about going with another company. That's from Holiday. Well, I can't justify paying over $200. You're a little better than me. I can't justify paying over $200 for a phone. Now, I remember when, you know, we had subsidies on the phone. You know, you signed a 2-year contract. Hey, Mobile Geeks is in the house, y'all. Hey, George. I remember when we had subsidies, and that was a good thing. We were okay with that, paying that discounted price to sign a 2-year contract, because we weren't jumping around carriers, you know. But, you know, I can't even justify spending over $200 because of phones like this. These work. They're good phones. There's a couple I have around, but I got the others in it. But I have plenty of phones that are under $200, and they work better, if not the same, or just a little bit under the so-called flagships. I can't justify $200. George is confirming that you will get great battery on the Z2 Play, and a lot of people have confirmed that you should get at least 6 hours. Last year's get screen burn and the Moto Z Play, and I know it's burn. I didn't have any screen burn with the Moto Z Play at all. Do you think that in the future OEMs will make make phones every 2 years? You know, I'm so with them making a phone every 2 years or every year and a half, because what they're doing is they're forcing us to jump forward even though we don't want to. So, I mean, you think about this. I could ask this question all over again. Why are they making a phone? Why are some companies updating a phone every 2 to 3 months? Why are some companies updating a phone, bringing out a new model every year? What's the purpose of that? Like, I mean, give us that killer hardware up front and improve on your software over that 2-year period. Just do it. But the reason they do that is because they want to make more money. But so I don't foresee them not bringing out a phone every few months or once a year. They're going to keep on doing it because we keep buying it. Do you think hey, Paul Tech, I gave you a shout out earlier, Paul Tech. Paul Tech's watching on the Moto E4, and it's definitely worth $40. Yeah, this is totally worth $40. That's for sure. That Moto E4, this phone right here, and I just posted my article on smartphoneconversations.com. Be sure to go check that out. Really good phone. 2 years will be ideal, Tony Healy says. Shout out to Tony. You're right. But the companies won't do that because they want our money. They want our money. Big time. They want the money. And that's just what they're gonna do. We're gonna keep shoveling out the money, and they're gonna keep giving it to us. Next year's Pixel seems to be incremental upgrade. Is it worth it? Well, we don't have it yet, Jay Mills. We just have leaks. And, you know, with leaks, you have to take them for about this much percentage. Even though it's right there in front of us until it's officially launched, they can pull the plug on it and say, we're not doing it. What's the camera like on the Moto E4? I just posted my video the other day on the Moto E4 camera, and it is actually really good. It's actually phenomenal for the price, man. Um, I'm gonna tell you, this phone right here has great cameras. I kid you not. This is fantastic cameras for the price. You will be surprised. Really good. Yep, Keith is right. You know, supply and demand. We don't have to purchase every year. We don't have to purchase every 4 months, but we do it. You know. Yeah. Hey, Big House, you need to hit Walmart up and grab one of these for $40. It's totally worth it. Totally worth it. The Moto Phone Power Mobile says what's the better line, the G line or the E line? They're pretty much the same, you know. As far as performance goes, I don't see any difference in performance. It's just a matter of, do I want to pay for the higher resolution screen? Do I want the bigger, but things like that. I mean, they perform all the same to me. They perform all the same. What is your thoughts on the Z2 Force? I don't have the Z2 Force, nor do I plan on buying it because the last year's Force scratched like a champ. It's just a scratch. It scratches way too easy. And I'm not impressed with that $800 price tag. No freaking way. I might as well just get the Z2 Play. It's pretty much the same phone. Yeah, I don't really care about internals that much. I'd rather pay half the cost and get the same great performance. In the end, that's what you want, right? Performance, not bragging rights because I have an 835. Does the E4 camera rival the G5? You know what? That's a great question. The reason that it does is because the phone costs so much less, and so you're getting a lot of bang for buck with the E4, and so um, it costs a heck of a lot less, and so you get you get such a great phone and cameras and stuff for that low price. I think it does rival it. It's not like better, but you said rival, and yes, it rivals. The Force is way too heavy in price. I mean, it costs more than the Essential phone. Are they serious? You know, and the Essential phone has things that we don't have yet, like a titanium build. Come on, 4K on the front camera. Come on. Frankie Jones says Mate 9 or G6. Mate 9. Mate 9 all day. Doogie says he's gonna hit Walmart up for sure. You got it. You got it. It's $40. I mean, if it's not out on the floor, tell them, hey, I need to get a Moto E4 for Verizon. This wasn't out on the floor. They had them stored away. They had it empty on the floor, like sold out. She went over and opened the cabinet. Like 20 of them in there. I was like, why don't y'all have these out? I don't know. But I get $40. You can't. This thing is good, man. It's good. It's good. I care about the battery life as well as performance, but prefer it in a big screen. That's Michael Thompson. Battery life, you know, nowadays with battery life, you don't have to have, I mean, with big screen, you don't really have to have a big battery because take care, Gomez. You don't have to have a really big battery to run a big screen nowadays because the X8 Ultra has a 6-inch 1080p display, which edge to edge is beautiful. But it only has a 2700 milliamp hour battery, so optimization for the hardware and software is key. Amazon exclusive with ads, 159, 32 gig. The Plus is going to have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, and I really want to pick up the Plus too to compare, not compare it to this phone, but to use it, you know, because I think the Plus actually is supposed to come out on the 20th, I believe. I think that's the date. The E4 Plus, the 20th, I believe, August 20th. Also, well, I guess I'll just tell you now. I'll still post it on. I'll talk about it on Monday Smartphone News as well. But you know, T-Mobile's phone is getting ready to release on August 10th, and this is a T-Mobile branded exclusive phone, the Rebel. And there's going to be a couple of versions of this phone, but that's actually going to be a killer phone. You know, unfortunately, it's on T-Mobile, and I doubt they'll probably unlock that one. I don't know. But man, the Rebel has a 5.5-inch display. It's a T-Mobile. It's literally the T-Mobile phone. It's one of their phones that's coming out. That's coming out August 10th. The Rebel has a 5.5-inch 1080p display. You know, 32 gigs onboard storage, 2 gigs of RAM. That's good, and it looks really good. It almost looks like the old Moto X. Remember the Moto X that had like that smooth, the one that you couldn't really change the background. It kind of looks like that. Let me see here. I got some more questions. Why don't companies upgrade the phones to new software? Here, let me give you a quick class on, and not just you, Elijah, just people who always ask that question. When you think about an upgrade, okay, let's think about a carrier device that's not getting an upgrade. It costs a lot of money to upgrade the software to the next level. Now, companies don't do that because phones aren't selling very well. Regardless of what we may think, I'm not saying that's the only reason, but it costs them a lot of, you wouldn't be amazed how much money it costs to do an upgrade on software. It's not Google. It might not be the OEMs, but for carrier phones, it's the carrier. The carrier wants a whole bunch of stuff on the phone, so they want you to put this on and take this off. It's not even worth, the carriers don't even do it. Now, as far as OEMs go, who don't have a link to a carrier that the phones are unlocked, money. It costs a lot of money to do an upgrade. Watching lunch break. Hey, appreciate it. R. Stark. On one of the counties. Waiting for the Note 8. The Note 8 is going to be the Note 8. It's going to be the S8 Plus with an S Pen. People hate to hear that technology. These so-called diehard Galaxy Samsung fans. Reality, man, it's just the S Pen is the only thing that makes the Note really, really good. It might be squared off, but it's pretty much, if you don't want that, buy an S8 Plus. If you still want something big, the Note is going to be the Note. The Note line is their premium line, and I'm excited about it. I think it's going to probably do very well amongst the masses because people want Samsung to make a comeback from when they were tricked and trampled over with that Note 7 nonsense. Somebody had it in for them. I still believe that. Sabotage, man. They sabotaged it. But consumers want Samsung to get that comeback device. And believe it or not, you might think that the S8 is like a comeback device for Samsung. Some people might think that. But I think the Note 8 will be their comeback and shine. And you know what's going to really be good for them? If they price it right. Apple is probably the only company that can price their phones whatever they want, and people just buy it, man. And then the resale value is crazy. You think about that now. Samsung's latest flagship is already $200-300 off. Why is that? Oh, the Samsung Dex is cool. The Samsung Dex is useful. It's not as useful for a lot of things. And again, it's so funny. Team 100 talked about this last night on their stream. The Samsung Dex is useful. It's useful, but it's still kind of limited. Like Eric was saying, no gaming. No gaming. And it's funny. He was saying how he gets better performance with the phone connected to Dex. Then when he takes it off of Dex, he gets those stutters, those hiccups. That was hilarious, man. But he's right though. The Dex is on point. Do you think the Pixel 2 is going to be the best? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the Pixel. The Pixel 2 doesn't even exist yet, so that's kind of a hard question to answer. What do you expect from the G5 Plus? The G5 Plus is going to be cool. Why they're making so many close iterations? That's what I don't understand. Yeah, guys, I'm more of hoping that people stay in that pocket-friendly range. I would prefer to refer people to phones that cost a lot less than to refer people to phones that cost a whole bunch. And that's just what it is, man. So let me see how long I've been going here. Can't see. My Project 13 jumping in for some support. Appreciate it, bro. What I don't like about flagship phones is when they first come out, always have some kind of bug. That's just what it is. That first, especially if you have a new phone, no phone is exempt. Like the essential phone is going to come out, and I tweeted this out yesterday or a couple days ago about it. It's already on Best Buy's website. It's coming soon. Notify you. The phone was supposed to come out in June, I believe it was. Didn't come out, and I think they're just trying to make some just final changes or something. Changes that don't really matter to the consumer, I think. It's always going to have some kind of backroom talks, believe me. But when it does come out, is it going to wow us? I think it's going to wow us, but I think the hype for the phone is dead. Some people might ask, is it DOA? I don't think it's DOA because of the phone itself. I think it's DOA because we haven't heard anything about it. There's, like I said earlier, there's no leaks, there's no footage, but there's nothing, and they're just going to bring it out. Now, we don't know what's going to happen before they bring it out, but what we do know is that they're going to bring it out. And let's hope that 2 weeks prior to it launching officially, there's tons of media hype. Tons of it. Because that's what's going to help that phone. This Note has to separate itself from the S line to reestablish the Note dominance. You know, you're absolutely right. That's our starts. He's right. You know, if Samsung doesn't separate themselves from the S line, it's pointless to even bring out a Note. Pointless. Do you think I should grab a BB Classic as a second phone? I don't know. I have a Classic, but I don't consider it a second phone. I actually use that thing in the front line. Do you think many offerings from Moto is an attempt to offer everything and see if it sells the best? You know, mid-range, flagship range, high. Motorola is actually doing fantastic in every category. They're doing fantastic in every single category. They have a phone for everyone, but they have too many iterations of the same phone. I talked about this last Tuesday on my live podcast, Duplicate Phones. Go check it out. It's on the channel. It's also on Spreaker. It's also on smartphoneconversations.com. I talked about this because they're bringing out great phones, but they're bringing out so many iterations of this, just changing little things about it. How is that a good thing? Like, who thought of that? You already capitalized. You already grabbed me with the Moto E4, you know. Don't bring out a Moto E4 Plus, a Moto E4X, a Moto... Don't bring out all that. Just bring us one or two in that line. And, or I guess I should say, if you're going to do that, stagger the specs enough to where it actually looks like it's something worth buying. Let me see. That's what I want to know. Wow factor. Didn't the Note 7 have the same specs as the S7 minus the screen size and pin? Pretty much. Pretty much. James Matthews, please do not get rid of your Note 7. I'm envious. I want to buy the Fan Edition, but it's kind of pointless for me to buy that at this point. Yeah, unless the price drops, if I can find one for a few $100s, I can't justify, even though I'm a fan, no pun intended, I can't see myself spending $700. The lowest I found now is $770, and I just can't see it happening. Not with the Note 8 right around the corner. But James, please don't sell your Note 7. Keep it. Don't do it. Don't. If you upgrade to the Note 8, don't get rid of your Note 7. Please don't. I think everything is competing with the U11, Anthony. He says, I lost interest, but if it turns out to be a killer, and I mean, that's better, it better top the U11. You're absolutely right. It needs to top the U11, you know. Even with the S Pen Suite on there, it still has to beat the other phones, you know. Yeah, he's right. The S Pen might as well be an accessory, yeah. Any thoughts on the Mi 6 First? I started the stream talking about this, Peter. Shout out to Peter about the Mi 6. I started the stream talking about that because that phone kills everything on paper pretty much right now. And it's $499. Yeah, it's a fantastic purchase. There are so many versions of the Galaxy S3, the Mini, the Active, but yeah, shout out to John. That's right. When companies do that, what's the purpose of that? Daniel, I just talked about the Pixel 2. I've been talking about that. One problem with Android is that some of these generic companies have the operating system. They don't even upgrade it. Well, that's a matter of I can buy a very cheap Android phone with 7.1.1 for $10. I don't disagree, but you know that just comes down to money, you know, and timing. You know, the Nokia 8 from Elijah, I'm totally interested in. That's going to be a pocketable, like size-wise, it'll be nice in your hand probably because it's got a 5.3-inch display, quad-HD display, killer cameras, killer specs. I'm totally interested in that. Totally. Do you think the iPhone 8 video on the phone will be separate processing? Well, first of all, there's not very many phones that beat out the iPhone for cameras in my personal experience. But the U11 and the OnePlus killed the iPhone to me. And, you know, it's just a matter of, that just goes down to preference, I guess. David asks, is the P10 for $250 a good deal? No, I don't think I've ever experienced the P10, so I really can't tell you. I'm still rocking the Note 5. I haven't seen fun. Yeah, keep the Note 5 if you got it. Don't buy the V20 over the Note 5. Don't do it. What do I think about Red's idea? I've been talking about that. Yeah, I think you might have just came in, John, but I talked about that for a long time. You know, I don't foresee that phone doing well at all. It doesn't matter how nice it is. Nobody wants to buy a smartphone where you got to buy modifications to make the camera better. So you're ultimately going to end up spending $3,000 on this cell phone, and it's just a cell phone. No way. You could go ahead and buy 2 or 3 DSLRs with that money and a cell phone. You still have money to spare. Note 4 Edge, man. Oh, God, it's a sweet phone. The Honor 8 is totally a good buy. Holiday asks, is the Honor 8 a good buy? Oh, yeah. Totally. Totally a good buy. That's a great buy. And I found some of those for a couple $100, $300 for brand new. Totally a good buy, you know, for the Note Edge. But the Honor 8, definitely a good purchase. The Huawei Mate 10 yet? No, I haven't heard anything about the Huawei Mate 10 yet. I look forward to grabbing the Huawei Mate 10. But in all honesty, the Mate 9 is still like one of the top dogs. Beautiful hardware, big screen, killer. Oh, the phone is so complete. I think I almost gave that phone a 10 when I rated it. I'm not sure. Take care, Stark. But yeah, I don't know what I rated that phone. I have to go back and look at it. But that phone is killer, man. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the renders of the Pixel 2 definitely look like a stretched out Pixel 1. You know, but you know, they're gonna do what works. I mean, they're not gonna change it if it's working for them. You know, if you had something that was working, would you change it? What would you do? You know. So I'm gonna cut here, man. I appreciate you guys joining me for a live stream. I'm gonna go ahead and jump out of here. Someone sent me a message during this stream. He used to do a lot of motor. He was like he's still pro Motorola, but he's also a vegan, and he kind of transitioned away from technology a little bit. And he hasn't done a lot of tech reviews. But Joshua, he's really good with Motorola. Shout out to you, bro, because he definitely is pro Motorola. But you know, I appreciate you guys joining me for another video. Motorola has done us justice with phones like this. They really have. You know, and I talked about that earlier. Keith said he's headed to Walmart right now. You need to hurry up and grab this phone right here. Seriously. This will be the best $40 you spend. Wait till you see how it feels in hand. And I have the G4 Play also. And I kind of compared these. I compared these side by side. And this just feels so much better, you know. And it's got a fingerprint reader. I say it's a replacement for this phone. Some might not think so, but I think that this is a replacement for the G4 Play. But you know, some might disagree. I think it is. They have pretty much the same specs, and they almost look the same, but they added, you know, the fingerprint reader, gave it better cameras. You know, maybe I'll compare these cameras. Maybe that'll be a video that I do. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. But Anthony, I spoke about the fact that Lenovo says they're going to drop their skin and go completely with pure UI Android, but you know they're already almost there already. You know what I'm saying? So there's absolutely not much that they need to change. They just need to not take away some things like Moto gestures. Don't do that. You know, it's gonna kill it for some customers. Elijah says that they should start adding a dual speakers. I totally agree because the front speaker on the Moto E4 is really good. The Moto E's front, and this all personal preference, but the Moto E4's front speaker is really loud and clear. It's not that it's just loud; it's actually really clear. It's really clear and it's really loud. So that's something that you guys should think about. But anyway, it's your man Jay Will, man. I'm going to get out of here and probably grab some lunch and finish cleaning up the office and ship some packages off and all that good stuff that tech reviewers do. But God bless you guys, man. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your Saturday afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you're at in the time zone, um, and just kicking with me on a live stream. I haven't done it that many live streams lately. I just don't have the capacity to do it. I have time to run the websites and everything and do the reviews, but I have boatloads of packages, and it's just unreal. And I'm thankful and blessed to be able to do it. But I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day. Be sure to go over to, I just published my latest article, and it was actually on the Moto E4, smartphoneconversations.com. Be sure to go check that out. I think you would enjoy that article. And I appreciate you guys' support, genuinely do. I'll try to keep the channel going as long as I'm allowed to do so. And there are plenty of YouTubers in my stream, so be sure to check them out. Click on their names, and you'll see that they run channels too, and they have great content. So I'm all about sharing. And once again, I caught Team 100's stream last night, so shout out to them for coming over and checking out some of my stream. They had a panel review on there, and it was a good conversation, good topic. Everybody on there has a channel that you can go check out content on and watch YouTube, and they do the same thing I do. So I want to thank everybody, and I appreciate you for joining in on my live stream. And I'll see you guys. I'll try to go live when I can. I just don't have the capacity to do it anymore like I used to. But I do have Tuesday's live podcast. I definitely am going to keep that going in the evening time. And Monday smartphone news will continue along with other previews and unboxings and reviews throughout the week. So be sure to head over to smartphoneconversations.com and stay up with your boy Jay Will. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.